Hi everybody, Ali Akbarian here, your resident road safety expert from Mobility Engineering, back again for another Q&A. Thank you for sending in those questions, keep them coming, and as we always say, we'd love you to hit that subscribe button that looks a bit like this pillow down there somewhere. We'd love your support, so please hit that button, help us get to that 1,000 subscriber mark, and then we'll get something new and funky going. Alright, so we are here today in our assessment center with our vehicle, our transporter van vehicle, demonstrator and assessment vehicle. We are here to talk about tying down wheelchairs, not necessarily for when you're traveling in them, but just tying them down. So there's been a couple of questions that have been raised about that, and also we were sent in a case, an example which I'll show you guys a photo in a minute. So the questions are, is there any requirements for tying down your cargo or wheelchairs or loose sort of bits and pieces? So within our industry, it's quite common to have equipment, medical equipment, scooters, wheelchairs, power chairs. Now, with things like scooters and power chairs, they can very sneakily weigh a lot of weight and creep up in weight. So you can have these power chairs that are weighing, 150, 200 kilos. So one question that was raised was, can we use the vehicle tie downs in the car, the factory vehicle loops and rings in the car to tie these wheelchairs and this cargo down? So it's a little bit complicated. It's not an exact answer. Generally speaking, if it's a power chair or a scooter or a heavier product, then no, you shouldn't be using these, because as you can see here, there's no rating on this. There's nothing that says what it's going to be able to carry. It's just a general load guide. In some vehicles, some commercial vehicles do have the weight rating of these things, but in this particular case, it doesn't. And I'll actually show you a case that we were sent. So if you want to come a little bit closer, this is a Toyota HiAce van. So this is a commercial vehicle that you can see they use the factory point to tie down a power wheelchair. And then that was the end of that factory point after the heavy braking. So there wasn't even an accident. It was just a really heavy brake at an emergency type braking situation. And yeah, basically that tore it out. So what would we recommend? Number one recommendation is to go refer, and we can put the link below, refer to what's called the National Load Restraint Guide. So it's a little thing that not many people know about, but it's actually a government guideline which is mandated, and we do need to follow it when we are securing cargo. Generally speaking, people that are like truck drivers and those kind of people, it's more their industry, so they know about that stuff. But when we're in this part of the industry, the vehicle or the disability industry, and we're carrying around that kind of big, heavy cargo, we actually do have to use that guide, and we're legally obliged to use the tie-down requirements and load restraint requirements in that guide. But to give you kind of like a little bit of a cheat sheet for that, use wheelchair tie-down points. So we've spoken about these many times in previous videos. These are rated wheelchair tie-down points that are used to tie your wheelchair down in the event of an accident. Now, often they're used for when there's an occupant in the wheelchair, and they're coupled, like you can see in this vehicle, with a seatbelt and so on. But that's not the only time that they will be used. These restraints on the floor, they are in particular specifically for holding the wheelchair down, not the occupant, the wheelchair. So basically, get these wheelchair restraints and put them into the vehicle, restrain your power wheelchair, and you're definitely not going to have any kind of problems in an accident, and you'll definitely be meeting the requirements of that National Load Restraint Guide when it comes to those power chairs. But as I said, in general, I do recommend that you go get that guide, particularly if you're working in this industry or you are someone that's operating a lot in this industry or driving or carrying a lot of cargo. Very important and very valuable information in that guide. All right, so thank you very much for listening to that question and the answer. Thanks for tuning in. As I always say, hit that subscribe button down there and keep sending in your questions. We love them. Thanks very much.